If I'm baking more than one loaf of sourdough back to back and I only have one bread oven or Dutch oven to bake it in, this is how I like to do it. I bake the first loaf the same as I always would while I leave the additional loaves in the fridge. The only difference in baking that first loaf is when I take the lid off, I put both the lid and the base of the bread oven back into the oven. So even though the lid is off, it's still in the oven retaining its heat. Once the first loaf of bread is done baking, I put the bread oven back into the oven closed and I preheat back up to 450 degrees. Your baking vessel should already be plenty preheated, so you don't need to wait any additional time at this point. Then you'll continue baking however many loaves you have in the same way that you baked the first, putting the lid back in the oven once you take it off. This just helps to cut down on the preheating time of the pan again before you bake your second or third loaf. If you forget to leave the lid inside the oven with the bread, it's not the end of the world. You can put it back in and preheat it and it'll still work just fine. Your lid's just going to be a little bit cooler than the base of your bread oven or Dutch oven. These 3 loaves are my first bake of 2025, and if this is any indication of how the year is going to go, I cannot wait for a year of sourdough. Happy baking!